Let's get more on this now from Omar Samad. He's a former Afghan diplomat and a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, joining me now live. Good to have you on the program with us. As I mentioned there, the Taliban has claimed victory over the Panjshir Valley, which has been the center of resistance for decades. Do you believe those claims? And if so, how did that region finally fall?
Well, the claims have to be verified once again because there are counterclaims as well. And I don't think there are independent journalists yet looking at the situation on the ground. But obviously, the Taliban have shown pictures of their flag flying over the governor's office, of most of the districts having fallen, and the opposition under Ahmad Massoud says that they are striking back. They have taken to the mountains, that resistance will continue. And he made an appeal to others to resist across Afghanistan. So on one hand, there is clarity from the Taliban. On the other hand, obviously, there are counterclaims. The impact obviously means that the Taliban can now say that they have control over almost all of Afghanistan and that they can move forward with their agenda, which it must include at some point, sooner or later, the formation of a new administration in Kabul.
Yeah, we are still waiting on finding out what a government under the Taliban looks like. What can we likely expect, and what does it mean for other countries to potentially work with a Taliban government, given that the UN recognizes the Taliban as a terrorist organization?
As far as what we can expect, we don't know, actually. There are a lot of expectations. So you have Afghans who have their expectation. The other political groups and the other political constituencies have their expectation of the Taliban to be included in a new government. Then you have, obviously, the regional players and the international community that has its expectations in terms of trying to tell the Taliban that it has to be inclusive, it has to reflect the different constituencies in Afghanistan, it has to have qualified people who can run the government, so on and so forth. And as far as other players are concerned, I think that there is, as I said, in the region, you have obviously a different look at Afghanistan, a different set of relationships. Like, for example, right now, most of the embassies that are open in Kabul, not meaning that they have officially recognized the Taliban, but they still have kept their embassies open, or just maybe half a dozen countries. They're all from the region. There are no Western nation countries that have yet reopened their embassies. So the international community has its set of requirements and expectations. It has made it quite clear. There's a lot of talking going on. And over the next few days, there is an expectation that the Taliban will announce something.
The Taliban is claiming it's different now, that it's grown and learned, but can we really believe them when they say things like that, when we hear reports of what's happening on the ground? What does this all mean as far as the future of Afghanistan with the Taliban?
Well, as I've said in the past, the burden of proof is on the Taliban. It's one thing to say something and claim something and hope for something. It's another thing to actually prove it through actions and policy. So policy will be very important. Not only what kind of policy they're going to adopt in different fields, whether it's social policy, whether it's economic policy, whether it's international relations policy, and obviously political inclusivity policy. But it's also about how they are going to implement it and execute it. And I think not only the Afghan people are watching, obviously the international community is watching, but I am of the view that the Taliban of today, so far, at least over the last 3-4 weeks, have shown some shift and some mindset shift in terms of tolerance in some areas. It's still too early to tell whether it's permanent. But I think that we are not dealing exactly with the prototype of the Taliban of the 1990s.
Okay, we'll leave it there for now. Omar Samad joining us from Washington. Thank you.